So today I'm going to prove that the evidence and sources used to support the claim are not sufficient and the data is lacking statistical evidence. The claim is that mass media emphasizes a certain image upon females in which makes them insecure. The two supporting claims are mass media stresses female appearance to the public and emphasizes how skinny and fit one should be. The second supporting claim is mass media portrays women in a sexual manner. The evidence and sources to support the first secondary claim stated that according to the Now Foundation, 5 to 10 million women and girls suffer from anorexia and or bulimia in the United States alone. Although the evidence is reliable and credible, it fails to give any statistics of how many of the 5 to 10 million women suffered from anorexia or bulimia because they felt pressured by the media to look skinny and fit. Without the statistics of the women suffering because of the media, the evidence doesn't apply to the claim because it fails to relate the media as a cause for anorexia and bulimia. According to the Rosewood Center for Eating Disorders, anorexia and bulimia can be caused by biological factors, emotional health, family matters, and cultural influences. So basically, without the exact number of women that were affected by the media that caused them to suffer from anorexia or bulimia, the source isn't relevant to the claim. Her support for her secondary claim and the source that she used states the APSP states, in 2012, 87% of all cosmetic procedures were performed on females. Most of these women had the tummy tuck, their nose shaved, and got breast implants. The evidence in the source doesn't relate to the claim because, again, it fails to give any numerical data of what percentage of the 87% of women got plastic surgery because they felt the need to live up to the images they see in the media. It's not relevant to how the media makes women feel about themselves. According to womenshealth.gov, it says that the reasons women get plastic surgery is one, patients have a strong self-image who are bothered by a physical characteristic that they'd like to change or improve, and two, patients who have a physical defect or cosmetic flaw that has diminished their self-esteem over time. That is not to say that women don't get plastic surgery because the media emphasizes a certain image that makes them feel insecure, which is her original claim. But without statistical evidence or numerical or numbers that can support that some of or all of the 87% of women who get plastic surgery get it because they feel pressured by the media. In conclusion, the sources and evidence used fail to give sufficient evidence that the reason why women have anorexia or bulimia is because of the pressure of the media. Without statistical or numerical data, we can't conclude that the women in the data are insecure because of the media, and so they take such drastic measures as to get plastic surgery. Therefore, the sources and evidence used to support the claim is not effective and irrelevant.
All right, your position is clearly stated at the beginning. You're going to be attacking the sufficiency of the advocate's claims. You don't necessarily present a lot of counterclaims, but you did have some nice competing evidence on each of the points that I thought helped the position that you're taking. Your first point is signposted pretty clearly. You summarize the advocate's evidence also pretty clearly, and then you present a reasonable challenge to it. In other words, what percentage of these people, the 5 to 10 million people who are cited, have this illness as a result of some kind of pressure from the media, and how widespread is it? How would we ever be able to detect that? Your argument basically is that the information that the advocate is using is making an inference without being able to document or quantify any of that inference. I did think that the follow-up evidence that you presented could work in either direction, because it talks about causality being related to lots of possibilities. One of the possibilities is cultural issues related to how people see themselves, which would be the advocate's claim. But the other possibilities represent family histories or biological reasons and so on and so forth. If there was any evidence to suggest the likelihood that those were the more prevalent causes, I think that would make your argument a little bit stronger here. But as it is, I think you do a pretty effective job about raising some doubt about the inference that the advocates made. You might also challenge the way in which they've reasoned. Is this evidence adequate just because of this one statistic to show a connection? Did they provide any examples of people being affected that way? Later on in your argument, you make the same kind of claim that there isn't any example that shows a direct connection, and I think that that would be a good challenge to make here. On the issue about the cosmetic surgery, you have almost exactly the same kind of setup on this argument. There's a challenge to why people would get the cosmetic surgery in the first place, and I thought that the piece of evidence that you had to suggest that there are alternative reasons was pretty good, including a reason that seems to undermine the advocate's claim in itself. In other words, the source of people's self-image or negative self-image is the physical defect that they're having, treated itself, as opposed to they see themselves as being, fat or ugly because of something they saw on TV. It's they see themselves as being fat or ugly because they've got a nose that they're always embarrassed about, or that they're overweight or something along those lines. And that's the thing that is the source of their declining self-esteem, as opposed to the way the media portrays it. I think that that's an interesting point. We've got one of those which is the cause and which is the effect kind of arguments here, and I think it could be developed a little bit more. I thought the summary was pretty effective for the argument. There's a lot more that you could do in the argument, but for the issues that you're talking about, those were good presses. All right, thank you.